It's bad when I'm a squirrel.
Believe I can see the chat in here, but we'll get started right away anyways. All right.
Let's do it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first episode of Skills Hub on Air. For
Woohoo!
those of you that are new here, Skills Hub on Air is part of SkillsHub.Life, a voiceover platform founded by this lovely lady right here,
Hi. Along
and
with
her
my
sister
sister and
Karen.
our friend Bill.
Yes, along with Karen and Bill. All right. So the purpose of Skills Hub on Air is pretty much, people from all over, voice actors, casting directors, storyboard artists. You're going to hear from a lot of people. Some of them are lovely coaches that you can get book some times with on the site. And some of them are new people with a whole unique perspective. We're going to be talking about broad topics like, today we're talking about mental health, the things we don't talk about in this industry,
Hmm.
or we'll be talking about storyboard artistry. How do you get into that? All kinds of different unique topics. So it'll be primarily hosted by me. My name is Zelda. For those
Woohoo!
of you that don't know, you can find me all around in the industry. I've been all different places behind the scenes. Sometimes do a little voiceover here and then. And I will be interviewing today Jennifer Hale. For those of you that do not know, voice actor and Guinness World Record, might I add, and founder of acting.skillshub.life. Hello,
Indeed.
Jennifer.
Hello, Zelda. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited about this program and about what we can do, reaching out to people and just
Mm-hmm.
answering questions and demystifying this career and this
Mm-hmm.
industry,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like any other industry. You just got to show up and do the stuff
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Oh,
give it
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a realization, because especially from a new perspective coming in, you just I think at one point everybody has that. I don't want to say, like a simple thought of like, oh, okay, well, if I have a microphone, I can do this, and
Yeah.
it's just from a place of seeing stars, and then when you actually get into it, the nitty gritty, if you are led on the right path, it's gonna be hard,
Yeah.
and sometimes that can affect you mentally. So have there been any times for you where you're about to do a session and you're like, oh, I'm just not in the mood right now, this is a really strenuous session, I just want to go hide, but you have to get through the session. So
Yeah.
has that ever happened to you, and if so, what are some techniques that you've used that kind of help get you present in the
Yeah.
session?
That's a great question. Um, Definitely, there have been times when I'll be feeling like, oh my God. But it's mostly not because of the session, it's because the rest of my life is pressing on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to get present and get in the room sometimes. And most of the work we get to do is really inspiring. And then sometimes it's not as inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
But in those moments, what I look at is the creators that I'm working for, the writers whose words I'm breathing life into. And that is always a sacred privilege to me.
Mm-hmm.
I get so grateful around that. I look at the team and the people around me I'm serving, and that thrills me. I
Mm-hmm.
love it so much. That's what really lifts me up. And even when it comes to things like running Skills Hub, et cetera, some days I'm like, I'm going in 12 directions because I play a lot of
Yeah.
roles in life, like we all do now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time we live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I remember the people on the other end, the people that we're serving, the people that we get to lift up, the people who now have communities and careers and incomes because of what we've been doing, or, renewed hope or renewed vigor or revitalize the career they have, that really, really, really feeds me.
Mm-hmm.
And the gratitude thing and getting present is the thing. I think the biggest key there for me personally is just slowing down,
Yeah.
because my mind tends to run 12 steps ahead,
Mm-hmm.
partly because I have so many roles and so many balls that I'm juggling. But number one, writing things down.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, having people around me I can count on. Thank you, thank you. And number three, just writing it down so that it's in a place I know it's going to be come back. I
Mm-hmm.
know I can see it. I won't miss things because they're written down. I'm going to get there, and then I can drop in and slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I will say one of my biggest, biggest gifts that I found early on in this career is having a life.
Mm-hmm.
Having a life
That.
outside this career.
That.
Yeah.
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 When I was coaching, my one of my first coaches was like, you're doing good, you're on your way. You need to have a life outside of this. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm good. This will be my life, and it gets too much.
It
It's just
does.
even in the industry in general, I think having an outside life is just so important. And I'm glad that you're saying slow down
Hmm.
and breathe,
Hmm.
because nobody listens to that from me. So hear it from Jennifer, folks. I think this was the main purpose of this topic, because nobody listens to me and I
Okay, we're
get
done. Good.
it. Yeah, we're done.
We're
Good.
done. All done. Good.
Just
Just
gonna
play
record
that on
that,
repeat.
play that. I'm gonna send it to everybody because a lot of the people you think that, some people think that people at your status and higher have it all
Mm-mm.
figured out. You're just lazing around, just figuring it. Yeah, that's what some people think. But I'm like,
Man,
no. And to the people that are at your level, you got to slow down. It's okay.
well,
And yeah.
yeah. I mean, one thing that hello, not so good news alert. Um, the same issues always come up.
Mm-hmm.
The same anxieties, the same insecurities, they just cycle around. And that's kind of how I know I'm at a new level.
Mm.
When I'm like, what is this crazy thought pattern? I haven't had this in years. I'm like, oh, I must have leveled up to a whole new place because that's my survival thought pattern that
Mm.
kicks in
Mm-hmm.
when my identity is threatened or I've extended
Mm-hmm.
myself or some crazy things happened. And, it's just my key to like keep
Mm-hmm.
going, but also to slow down. I mean, it's not like the boat never, when you're at this level, never topples over.
Mm-hmm.
You just get up faster. So it looks like it never
Yeah.
topples over because it gets up so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're in a session and you blow a take. You
Mm-hmm.
stumble over your words or you're like, what? That did not come out how I intended. In the beginning, there's this moment where you're like, oh my God, it means all this stuff about me. I'm no good at this. And it doesn't. We all do it. And then you get into the space. My evolution was, oh my God. Then my evolution was, stop it. They need you to be working. Don't think about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then my evolution was, that is a dumb waste of time. I'm going to just stop doing that and get right back on it. Now my evolution is, yeah, anyway, I just skip right past it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing. Like I don't think we're human. We never stop having difficult days or difficult moments or
No.
insecure thoughts or going too fast. We just remember and bring ourselves back. And when we forget, I think that's what friends are for. That's what our
Mm-hmm.
allies in our circle and our
Mm-hmm.
community are for. They remind us of the things that we will tell other people but forget for ourselves,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's especially community is so important, and
Mm-hmm.
finding your people,
Yeah.
it's always going to be constantly riding the waves, sometimes you're
Yeah.
going to be super up, sometimes you're going to be down, sometimes you're going to be at a complete standstill. You have to go with the flow,
You
or
do.
otherwise it's gonna, I think, to me too, for when I was trying to get to that flow of state, I could hear it in my acting too. If you
Yeah.
are so caught up in like, this has to be perfect,
Oh,
what do they want? Like I have to get this, I have to get this, I have to get the money, I have to do this, I have to do that. You can hear it.
yeah, you can
So,
absolutely hear it.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, because it's your energetic signal.
mm-hmm,
And what you're focusing on is broadcasting loud and clear.
yeah,
You watch the people around you, you can see what they're thinking, you can
mm-hmm,
feel what they're feeling. Even when you're not aware of it, a part of you is absolutely aware of it.
mm-hmm,
And so I think the key there is compassion like, oh, wow, yeah, we're
mm-hmm,
all in the same boat.
yep,
I don't have to hide.
mm-hmm,
I don't need to advertise and dwell on it, but I
no,
don't have to hide it either. We're all
mm-hmm,
just humaning our way to the next step,
mm-hmm,
and that's part of why I have a 5-week class on the site. It's like the longest class. We
mm-hmm,
we really have gone out of our way to make classes super affordable, super doable in terms of
mm-hmm,
time and money. Like they're really inexpensive and they're efficient. Like each one of our classes is 90 minutes. Like that's it. And most of them are what we call a single module, like one session class.
mm-hmm.
But my class, I started classes 5 weeks. And part of that is because it's starting you in a whole new set of habits.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of what we're talking about in terms of resilience and having a good time, I mean, it's what we call mental health nowadays, but for me, it's just resilience and having a good time.
Yep.
Like that's really what it boils down to. And a lot of that is habits that I'm installing in the class, in
Mm-hmm.
people in the class, ways of thinking, ways of doing, ways of practicing that you
Mm-hmm.
practice, how you treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I came upon all of these really, really honestly. There was
Mm-hmm.
a time just a few years in, I don't know if it was 5 or 10 years in, but I was miserable. I mean, I was so miserable. I wanted to quit. And on paper, it didn't make any sense at all because everything was going. I mean, I had booked series after series regular after series regular and commercial campaign after commercial campaign. And now we were into games after game. And I was like, what is my deal? Am I just a total jerk and not
Mm-hmm.
grateful? And then one day I caught it. And it was after an audition. And I just was feeling lousy all the time inside. And it was totally because of my self talk. My self talk was
Mm-hmm.
total trash.
Mm-hmm.
I would leave an audition And then the critic would just go whoosh with all the things I had done
Mm.
wrong, or all the things I should have done and said,
Mm-hmm.
or all the things people thought about me, or all the ways I fell short. And I
Mm.
couldn't even hear it. It was at such a quiet level because it was a habit.
Mm.
It was, and that I wasn't even present to. I just found myself feeling lousy. And when you're feeling lousy, quite often, if nothing has just happened, it's typically that your little monkeys are in there throwing poo around your head,
Yeah.
So I had to get really disciplined and really just intense
Mm-hmm.
about strict with myself about
Yeah.
what I would and would not allow to remain in my head as a thought. And I did this thing where when I thought the negative, I had to replace it with multiple positives, and I had to do that every single time I spotted a negative. So it was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. And I was the one who imposed this on myself, but
Yeah.
it began to make a real difference over
Mm.
time. It really did. So I come across these tools quite honestly. And the
Yeah.
comparison thing, like we compare ourselves. Comparison is the thief of joy, right?
100%.
Yeah, it's a great old expression. But training oneself to be inspired instead of feel beaten down, to be excited and full of joy for your peers rather than making it about you and what you haven't done.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's a good topic. You talked about comparison being the thief of joy. Especially with social media as well. Do you think social media is kind of contributing to that rise of comparison, the imposter syndrome, the anxieties, and all of that?
Social media is building a profit laden empire on
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
They thrive on that. Those
Mm-hmm.
companies, the algorithm feeds off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't make that good, bad, right, wrong, if we just, I mean, my knee jerk is that sucks, but that also pulls me into a magnetized, kind of polarized perspective.
Mm.
And if I unhook myself from that good, bad, right, wrong thing and go,
Mm-hmm.
okay, do I feel better or worse?
Mm.
I feel worse. So I'm going to unplug. And I curate my Instagram feed. Man, it's full of pandas and kittens and my friends and, you know, horses and inspiring people and cool, thought provoking
Mm.
things. And, yeah, I curate my feed and I stay off social media in chunks. Because when I find myself compulsively going to social media, most of the time what I find is I'm going too fast in the rest of my life.
Mm.
I need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make myself take a full minute before I hit that button to like breathe and do something else slow. For me,
Yeah.
it's outside. Just go
Yeah.
outside. I've always gone outside. I've always done it. And I'm now lucky to live in a place that is just it is food for my soul. It is the
Mm-hmm.
greatest. I feel like I live in a unicorn. I live in a gorgeous place in BC, and just having anything though where you can go outside, look at a plant, pet a dog, pet a cat,
Mm-hmm.
check on the people you love.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I do when I'm feeling incredibly isolated and lonely, because that happens. You can be surrounded with humans. You can be surrounded with doing well
Mm-hmm.
and find yourself feeling incredibly unsuccessful
Mm-hmm.
and lonely
Mm-hmm.
because we're human,
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, I will typically call my friends and check on them and see how they are.
Mm-hmm.
I will give the thing that I'm wanted, and then I feel better. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I have to put emphasis too that everybody's perspective and of where they are in the industry is valid, whether you
Mhm.
are beginner and you're feeling that way or whether you're at Jennifer's level and you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
Every perspective, everybody is going through something, everybody is feeling something. And one of the things I am not too particularly fond of is, oh, well, somebody else has it worse than you, or somebody else is, here and having a bad time. Well, okay,
Yeah.
that they're valid in that too. But that doesn't mean that I get to dismiss how I'm feeling in my process, in my situation right now. That doesn't mean that it is any less valid.
So well said.
Mm-hmm.
So well said. 100%.
Well, with the shifting to another topic as well, with the unpredictability with voiceovers, well, it's not a guaranteed 9 to 5. It isn't, oh, you're going to be working from here to here, you're going to get this amount of income, blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, blah, blah. How do you balance ambition with self care?
Ooh. In the way that I set my quote unquote goals,
Mm,
we deal with this in the startup class as well because the same monster will eat me alive, and that class is
mm-hmm.
honestly designed around a lot of monsters I've faced down and How can
Mm.
I keep other people from having to face down the same? How can I give you my shortcuts so you don't have to?
Yeah.
And you'll go on and face down new monsters. um, I do two things. I define my goals by input, not
Mm.
outcome. I show up. In other words,
Mm.
um, I'll I'll take the startup class as an example. With my people in there, how many times are you going to practice in a week?
Mm-hmm.
We set 90-day goals.
Mm-hmm.
Those goals are not how many things I'm going to book, an
Mm-hmm.
agent I'm going to get, a job I'm going to do. None of that. They are, how am I showing up?
Mm-hmm.
How many times am I going to practice? How many workout rooms am I going to do? Because those are free. You can do as many as you want. How often am I going to get coached? How many classes am I going to take? That's all input based.
Mm-hmm.
I combine that with another exercise that's in the class, but for me, this is something I defined a very long time ago. Actually, it's 1994, as set it and forget it.
Mm.
And I will sit down, and this comes from a book called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain, old book. And I will sit down and I will write everything I want, my goals, so to speak, um, in the present tense as if I already had them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people out there can set goals and measure their metrics of how many auditions I did and how many I booked and feel great. For those people, man, I salute you. I got a few friends like that. I am not one of them. I feel terrible. I
Mm-hmm.
feel so out of control and like I should have done better. I think it's really important to set up a relationship with goals that honors your psyche, your
Yes.
background, what you come from, yeah, and what you need. So what I did with Set It and Forget It is I sat down and I like ceremony and ritual. So I got the back of a Trader Joe's bag, the brown paper, and I got a Sharpie and I wrote out my goals in the present tense as if they'd already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I expressed gratitude and like I'm excited and grateful that, I'm a regular in this number of shows. I've got this many commercial campaigns running. I'm bringing in this much money or more, every year or every month. My health is this. My joy is this. My friend circle is this.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, I always tag it with something I learned in that book, which is this or something greater for the highest good of all concerned. And then for me, I like, burn the edges with a candle, which is where I learned you need water nearby when you're doing that. Yeah. And at the time, this is 1994, I was living in this little apartment. I stuck it on my wall and I forgot about it. And then 10 months later, I moved into this apartment that I loved. It was like a tree house where I stayed for 5 years while I kept working and saving and working and saving and working and saving. And then I bought my first house. And when I moved from the apartment to the house, I was cleaning everything out and I found this piece of paper. It was rolled up and I unrolled it and I had everything on that list.
Wow.
Yeah. Except a film career. That's the only thing because the universe is like, we're not doing that yet. I'm like, okay. Um, and what I learned from there is I set it and I take my hands off the how.
Mm.
How is none of my business. Every time I think about it and I go, well, how should I? Mm-mm. The question is, the more appropriate and the more effective question is, what do I need to do today?
Mm-hmm.
What's in front of me today
Mm-hmm.
or this week? That's it.
Yep.
No further. Stop. Unless I'm buying tickets for a conference or,
Yeah.
planning something that's going to grow in the future, that's obvious and clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen and I get quiet and I trust. I trust that everything is rolling out. I did not set out to have a voice acting career at all.
Mm-hmm.
I came to LA for film and TV. And I booked it jobs, but not enough to pay all my bills, not enough, nearly enough. And one day I surrendered. I was beating myself up because I was, waiting tables and I'd never done
Yeah.
that. I'd worked in the industry since I was in high school, supported myself since the beginning of university,
Mm.
full time, and moved to LA and I knew I was going to start over and that's what happened. And I'm waiting tables. I'm like, I have never done this. This is crazy. But I finally let myself off the hook and stopped beating myself up for it. And I went, you know what? I'm going to give you 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You just flounder, you do whatever, get off your case.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped listening to my very well meaning but very conservative parent who was like, you need to get a real job. What are you going to do? And I was like, going to just leave that alone
Yep.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
And within a couple months, finally, that allowed everything to get quiet enough to where I could hear my instincts. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, make a commercial voiceover tape. I was like, okay. So I hunted and found someone who did. And I went into that session because I'd had 8 years behind the mic at this point, with this little interruption in LA. And because of that, in 45 minutes, I knocked out 8 different spots or 9, multiple voices, multiple everything, and we were done. She was like, whoa. So she picked up the phone and called SBV, and I have been with them since then.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So that's the other thing that I really, and it's one of the things about Skills Hub that I love the most.
Mm,
We serve initially we were created because I was sick and tired of recycling my own point of view. I was
mm-hmm.
sick and tired of like auditioning by myself. I just wanted 10 minutes with somebody and I didn't need an
Yeah.
hour. And I was like, I know all these directors and all these casting directors and all these great working actors. Can't we just make some kind of crazy calendar system where you can just book 5, 10 minutes? And, Karen's like, my sister's like, I'm going to have a barbecue and invite my friend Bill. He's a dev. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I like this. And then we started meeting around the dining room table at my sister's house where we still go. You've been there. And, but in that process, we came across all these people who just wanted to know how to do this from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh no. And then I did some digging and I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many holes in this process. People get lost. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So we wrote maps. I wrote out a map for as many genres as I could, audiobooks, animation, games, commercials, like step 1, step 2, step 3. And Bill built it. And that is free for people on our site. But the thing about this is like, everybody deserves support. I'm trying to find my way back to why this came up for me in the first place. It was just people going it alone. Darn it, Zelda, help me. I've squirreled myself into a hole and I can't find it again. Gosh, there was something I wanted to say for all of us. Like, oh yeah, because I started my career in a non-union market that
Mm-hmm.
didn't even have agents, and
Mm-hmm.
I created my business going door to door, cold calling ad agencies. And I think those are the pieces that don't get taught as much and
Yeah.
shared as much. So we've really drilled down. We have a whole section of coaches who are great performers, who are also really good business people who
Mm-hmm.
can help people put it together and get you income. Like that's Yes, we want the joy, and wouldn't it be great to pay our bills this way? But it's not just about the shiny objects. It's not just about I'm doing games in LA and, animation and all this stuff. It's about like all these crazy ways. Like I made money doing trade shows, doing corporate videos, doing on camera and voiceover
Yeah.
corporate videos, doing, all kinds of weird stuff. And that's the beauty of that non-union market. And that informed the journey of my quote unquote talent to LA. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just you just do it so many times that the machine begins to move really well and you look talented. I think that's guys, I don't know about talent. I've just done it a lot and I care so much about what the writers put down. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a
Yeah.
whole village to make
Mhm.
a show, which I am finding out. It's there are like even positions that I don't even still don't even know about fully, but to
Yeah.
make like for example an animation or a video game, it's everybody and everybody is just as important to get this
Yeah.
created.
Yeah. They really are. This is our community. We are each other's community.
Mhm.
And it's funny, I woke up this morning thinking about something. I was thinking about, I think about you guys a lot. I was thinking about the new people and about, we have these spaces on the site called workout rooms and they're free and
Mhm.
anybody can start one. We've got them from everything from just social hangouts to learn Mandarin to
Mhm.
let's do a table read of the script to let's practice animation scripts or game scripts
Mhm.
or whatever. But what I realized this morning is they're a beautiful place for people who are newer to come and just open their mouth in front of somebody else
Yeah.
or just be in a room, a virtual room with other people doing it as many times as you need to because they're free. They're
Mhm.
totally free. So you're not feeling like I spent money, so I have to.
Mhm.
It's just such a beautiful, no pressure way. And one of the most incredible benefits I've seen from it is the community.
Yep.
Like the way people are taking care of each other. We have members who came from England to go to Arkansas to another member's wedding. Like what? This is wow. We have members creating like, audio dramas and submitting them to
Mhm.
festivals and it's so beautiful. It's my favorite parable. I think it's a parable. Somebody's
Mm.
going to correct me if it's not. It's the heaven and hell thing. You've heard me say this, but I'll tell it to you guys. Which is this person is in purgatory. They're waiting to see if they're going to heaven or hell, and they're getting the tour, and they go to hell to get the tour. And it's gorgeous. There's like these banquet tables everywhere with this incredible spread of food, and like even the music's decent, but everybody's really unhappy because all the utensils are 2 feet long and they're trying to feed themselves and they're like, ah, and the food's just falling. They're starving. They can't get the food. That's hell.
Mm.
So they go to heaven and they're like, wait, wait, wait. It's identical. What's happening here? Even same like little tiny finger foods. Everything's identical. The utensils, the stupid utensils are the same. But everybody's full and happy. They're feeding each other.
Mm. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we've created.
Yeah.
So that's our goal. Our goal. And the other thing is, like access, right? One of the things that really, really made a huge difference for me is mentors. And I got
Mm-hmm.
those mentors by, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Hiring them over and over to redo my demo because I did it too soon and it sucked. It was really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But it taught me the value of mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Like having people who've been there before, that's the greatest shortcut you can ever get. And to this day, I'm like, wait, if you're an expert in something I want to do and you can show me how to do it, take my money. Just take it.
Yeah.
I'll make more
Mm-hmm.
money. I won't make more time.
Yep. And it's so important to make sure, like, for when I was first starting, I was definitely starting out with somebody that was not capable, like, was not fully
Yeah.
vetted because I didn't know, at the
Yeah.
time I was like, all right, here I am with my little USB mic. I'm just going to look it up and I'm going to click one. And then
Yeah.
when I got to actual legitimate coaching, my one coach at the time was like, ooh, yeah, all this stuff you've been taught is wrong. So it's so important to, to make sure that whoever you're learning from is active and actively working in the community.
Yeah.
That's why at Skills Hub, they're vetted coaches. We know that these people are actively working, so it's a
Yeah.
great spot to even just book 10 minutes.
Yeah.
My coaching was probably could have been doubled because I didn't always need a half an hour, but those
No.
were half an hour or an hour were the only options for me at the
Yeah.
time with majority of other platforms. So
Yeah.
it kind of cut my, it's like twice a month, but I could have gone double the amount of time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can do so much in 10 minutes.
You
I just had
can.
a 10-minute session with somebody who's like, hey, I think I coached with Tom Deere. I was like, hey, Tom, can you take a look at my website and, give me some notes? And he gave me some great feedback. And now my light
Mm-hmm.
is off. Lying.
Oh no, light. Come on, light. Yeah, and
Yep.
sometimes you don't even know what to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of pressure. If you just like, I just want, can you just tell me what to do next? I don't even know what my question is, but this is, and that's the beauty of, I mean, we have like, I think we have over 90 coaches now,
Yeah.
and we vet every single one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they know what they're doing, and they're all lovely people. They want to give back. That's the thing. This is a really beautiful community. Like
Mm-hmm.
the whole voice acting community is really a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you've kind of covered this, but I'm going to ask again
Hmm.
just in case you feel like you might be wanting to add anything else.
Yeah.
So, we covered a lot of topics: imposter syndrome, anxiety, all the things that come with, a creative career. What can being a member of SkillsHub.Life do to help combat all those things we've talked about? Like,
Mm,
for example,
mm,
you talked a lot about community.
yeah. Yeah. I think, one of those things, imposter syndrome, I want to add one of the greatest responses or definitions of imposter syndrome was America Ferrera's video about it, where she's like, it's not on me that I don't belong here. It's on you that people like me haven't been allowed in this room yet.
Ooh,
Not great.
ooh,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But one of the things that I'm so proud and really just fills my heart about Skills Hub is that it can get you past comparisonitis and
Mm-hmm.
get you past the isolation and get you past feeling less than, because this community, number one, is an incredibly supportive, beautiful, like heart-based but really
Mm-hmm.
practical place. And you can easily go in there through the workout rooms, through the forum and the
Yeah.
chat and say, hey, what about this? And you will get a pile of responses of everybody
Mm-hmm.
going, yeah, that's how it's totally fine. It
Mm-hmm.
normalizes the experience
Yep.
and helps you understand that it's not just you.
Mm-hmm.
And with it comes a pile of suggestions if you want them,
Yeah.
information. We have a lot of guidance on the site people haven't even begun to discover.
Mm-hmm.
These roadmaps, we call them paths about what to do next. But everybody can say, oh, I found that over here, or there's a bunch of scripts over here, or let's meet up and talk about this,
Mm-hmm.
virtually meet up because, the workout rooms. It solves for loneliness. It
Yes.
solves for self blame.
Mm-hmm.
It solves for isolation. It solves for being lost.
Mm-hmm.
You're just surrounded with a bunch of people on the same path who are all unique. And our philosophy is there's plenty to go around. There's plenty of
Yes.
work. There's plenty of
Mm-hmm.
community. There's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of time because there is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a place you can relax. And also, we're not forcing people to go at a particular pace or do it in a particular formula or particular way. You can bite it off in pieces that work for you. I think,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I think when you have programs that are really, really kind of just one thing, they can be
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. But if they're not a fit for you, you can end up feeling like you're falling short.
Yeah.
And we really took the time to build something that was made to order. Like, okay, I'm going to take this chunk of it. I'm going to do the foundations path, but I'm going to add these 3 classes because they're kind of what I really want to do. And then I'll talk to that coach because they're doing that thing I want to do, that really weird, unique thing. And then I'll know what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
We really solved for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I could, we could honestly make this an hour and a half, but
I know. Especially me and you.
yeah. Oh, this was so good. Thank you so
uh,
much, Jennifer, for
oh my
being
God.
our first guest, and
Thank
thank you
you.
everybody for tuning in. I'm sorry we didn't get to a lot of the comments, but
Yeah.
thank you guys to see a few of you here talking about
Yeah.
Skills Hub and how much the community means to you. So thank you
Oh.
everybody for all the love.
Mm.
Well, that concludes our first episode of Skills Hub on Air. Stay tuned on our socials. Check out our YouTube here. If you've liked this, be sure to like and subscribe. We have new videos every week, and keep an eye out for who our guest is going to be next week. All right. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Zelda. You're awesome. Mm.
And
Are we clear? Are we still hanging?
done.
Awesome. Oh my gosh,
Okay.
Zelda.